Hello, and welcome to Between the Lessons. I'm Susan.
And I'm Kavan.
This is our first episode of 2026, and we are in a new location. Have a little bit of a new look here. Hopefully, this place brings us the same great energy that your place did.
It will.
Yeah. So for our first episode, we're going to start with Chinese astrology. 2025 was the year of the snake, and that meant what?
Transformation, shedding, release of toxicity, renewal, inner growth, self-improvement, letting go of rigidity, dissolving illusions, moving through fears, and slow intentional evolution.
Wow. I like all of that.
Yeah.
But now it is 2026, which is the year of the horse. And that means what?
Boldness, movement, freedom, clarity, realized dreams, intentional action, sensitive strength, prosperity, innovation, big vision, and awakening.
Wow. I like all of that too.
A lot of movement.
Yeah. So we are thinking about the intentional actions we want to take this year. And we're talking about being also at a crossroads. We are decades into our careers, of course. We are 50, of course. We're looking at the second half of our life, even less, if we're really being honest. And we're feeling like there is something more, or at least something different.
Right.
You know, we want something else, partially, totally, who knows? So, what does that look like? So in coming up with this topic, we did talk a little bit about being at a crossroads,
Right.
and I'm not sure that that's the right name for it. I like the idea of different seasons of life. That's sort of where my head is at. So being in a different season. And we could start with our careers if you like. I'm going to throw the question to you. Like, how did you know this different season, this new season was settling in for you?
Well, you know me, and people may have been listening to our other episodes that I do a lot of reflection. And actually, I came across a reading, and if you'll humor me, I thought it was pretty apropos to what our conversation was about today.
Okay.
And it does refer to the zodiac, and it is called The Rise After Shedding, 2025 to 2026.
Okay.
2025 carries the energy of the snake, shedding old layers, facing buried truth, and surviving what once felt too heavy to hold. It's the year you confront the version of yourself built from instinct and protection.
Yeah.
But survival has its limit, and as 2026 arrives, the horse steps in. This is the part of you that rises after darkness, breathing deeper and reclaiming the fire you thought you lost. The horse brings the courage to move with an open heart, to stand in your truth without shrinking, and to choose action over the fears that you once held back. 2026 becomes the year of your new self, 2026 becomes the year your new self leads the way, steady, alive, and unapologetically free. Right?
Wow.
Right?
I like that.
And what really resonated in me was the surviving piece, surviving last year. And we've both have survived a lot, right? Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like survival was almost my entire life. It's only recently that I think I've come out of that mode, because even if I wasn't surviving mentally, emotionally, that is just how I approach life. I think it was about, surviving, just like, the baggage you carry from your past, and you're trying to, you come into your adulthood, you're trying to find yourself, you're trying to find your place in this world. But, for myself, I was carrying a lot of baggage. And on top of that, of course, you got to figure out your career. You're going to figure out you want to get married, probably start a family. And, can I do that? Am I going to do that? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? And for me, all those questions were about survival. And it never even occurred to me. I mean, certainly I was thinking okay, what do I really want? But it was in such a way of what, again, I don't know how to really articulate this, because I don't think it's like the idea of you're carrying your baggage from your past, and then there's all the expectations of the world. And then there's like your habits, your routines, your own ways of going about in the world that actually are not about thriving, that are not about being free. It feels, yeah, it is about survival. It is so reactionary, you know. And you yourself, or for me myself, I did not feel like I truly owned my full life. I did not feel like I was, you know, deeply like connected to who I was.
You're faking it till you make it.
Something like that. And it's only recently where I feel like, oh, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've been connected to myself in this way since I was, honest to God, like 5 years old.
Dang.
I think I knew myself at 5 years old and then just went left. And the world just sort of seeped in, and all this stuff just seeped in and took control. And I remember even a few years ago, with this idea of survival, I remember like sitting in my living room and just being like, I think I'm like financially a little bit okay. You know, I think I've got years into my career. I'd been married a good amount of time. And I was just like, and I started feeling a certain way. And I was just like, could I start thriving? Could I let go of this idea of survival? That maybe I'm okay enough that I can see, like, is there something else for me that's just more than I could even imagine?
I so connect with that, especially the survival piece of my childhood, of the evolution of my identity, my Asian identity, the evolution or the journey of who I hope to be, or was told to be, and then who I wanted to be.
Right.
But for me, that piece that I read really resonated in me, thinking about specifically my last 5-6 years of my life. As I've shared, you know, like 5 years ago was the end of my marriage, the dissolve of my immediate family at the time. COVID happened, so professionally, you know, we had to navigate through all of that, those trials and trauma and tribulations, and then my father passed away.
Right.
And going back to the original question of when did I realize, I really didn't realize until probably right when a little after my father died, and like understanding mortality, like really faced with mortality and saying, wow, I'm 50 years old. You know, my life cannot be the way I've been handling it. I need to approach it with more intentionality, you know, and really just like be my authentic true self. I think now, like I'm thinking about the characteristics of that snake, of shedding that toxicity, and then like realizing, like, listen, like I need to take charge of what I want to do. So yeah, I think my season of understanding that I needed to take hold and have some to thrive in what I want to do. Was last year when I turned 50. Absolutely.
Yes, same. Turning 50 is such a, you know, meaningful turn for me too. I mean, I certainly have talked about this also, like just dreading it. And then once it came and all these sort of pieces came into, so just sort of started meshing and coming into harmony. It really shifted me in a way, in the most fantastic way of just expressing myself in a way that, it didn't feel reactionary, kind of like what I was saying before. It came from a place of truth, of knowing, and of me, of just being connected to myself. And so I think, you know, this podcast is an extension of that,
right?
You know, of feeling like I want to do something. I want to create space, you know, I want to be in conversation with you. And I think, you know, that there was something there to share.
Yeah. I mean, all of this for me, like in a nutshell, has really helped change my mindset of how I approach my personal life, my career. And like, we were sharing a story off, you know, before we started this conversation, this production, that there was a setback, you know, how I handle setbacks, right? And in the past, I would have, like, when a challenging situation would have come across, either personally or professionally, I would sit and think and sit in this like lull of like, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Why am I broken? You know?
Wow.
And now I'm just like, fuck it.
Right.
I'm like, this is who I am. This is the type of person I am.
Yeah.
And I know who I am. So I am going to like just continue on and move forward.
It's sort of like it used to be maybe like a tidal wave or a hard crashing wave.
Right.
And now it's just like one of those, just like a little.
It's part of the journey.
Yeah, it's just something you just sort of ride, and then it just goes away, but you're sort of like still steady and still there and still present.
I was reading another passage, a Taoist passage, more recently, and they were talking about how why New Year's resolutions never work. Right? People always have these like huge pie in the sky, large goals.
Yeah.
And this person was basically saying that like you shouldn't set the goals without changing your mindset.
Yeah, the mindset.
Right? And he says that he says something really cheesy every day. He says 3 things every day to help change his mindset to help achieve his goals.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says is, today is the best day of my life.
Wow.
Right? Not because it's going to be perfect, but because whatever the universe brings towards him, it is going to help him grow.
Yeah.
Right? The second thing he says is, I control my mind. My mind doesn't control me. I cannot control what comes at me, but I can control how I respond to those actions. I can respond with love, patience, reflection, joy, right? And the last thing he said is, I am grateful for everything that I have right now.
Yeah.
Right? So changing that mindset can help you achieve whatever goal. So I incorporate that too with how the season I'm in, I guess, right now.
Yeah. And I think there's something about, maybe some people hit this earlier. I know there's some wise, sort of old souls and young bodies out there, and they understand this earlier. I heard all of this when I was younger, even just like 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was just not there. I really was just not there. And it's only in turning 50, in this very real number, that it just started to click.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I want to be more intentional. I understand more how to be intentional. I understand more about like, okay, if I want something, how do I need to change from the inside out to pursue it, ideally to get it? And even if there are, like you said, obstacles and challenges, disappointments and failures, what can I learn? What is the learning there? Because that's only going to allow me to expand myself. Whatever else comes next, I'll just be a better person for it. I feel really appreciative about that too, even though I'm like, gosh, I wish I did learn this sooner. To be here right now, to know these lessons, to be able to put these lessons in play, to be able to really intuitively and deeply understand these things is like such a gift, such a gift. I'm certainly not perfect at it. I'm not, but like
you recognize it. Though.
I recognize it more. I can. It's just more incorporated into my life, and it's just made life that much like really much better for me.
So do you feel that you're at a crossroads, or maybe even you don't like the word crossroads, but season for your profession?
So I feel like professionally and personally, I think a lot of how we live our lives are by these labels. I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm a wife, I'm a stepmom, so there's all these labels that I have defined myself by, and now I feel like I know what that is, and I don't define myself so much by them. So for teaching right now, honestly, I'm having a great time. Even though I'm like in the middle of writing grade reports, which is not fun, to be quite honest, but I'm having a great time teaching. And part of it is certainly I've been in the game and the profession long enough where I have experience, and I have a certain I can play on my strengths. I have a great rapport with the kids because I do appreciate them so much and I do love them so much, and they bring so much joy to my life, and I still feel that, and I can go to school with that energy. But I'm in a place of like, I want to do cool stuff. I'm like, what kind of cool projects can I do? What kind of cool stuff can I do at the school and with the kids too? And that comes from me internally. So I'm like, so I go to school with that. Like, what can we do? What can we create? How can we do something new, something different, something fun? So
is this metamorphosis really affecting your daily practice now?
It is. I go in with I think I go in with more presence. I go in with more intention. And my intention at school is, obviously to do the best job that I can, but it is to be present and it is to have fun. Because when you work with kids every day, including teenagers, you can have a lot of fun. There's they're always getting into something. There's always something funny going on. There's always like a story to be told. There's always like behavior where you're just like so incredulous. So, great conversations. So I do feel like that. Yeah. And I'm doing podcasts with the kids at school. And we have this other thing going on that we're trying to figure some creative new things to do with it. So I feel like that idea of being a teacher and an educator, which I thought was just sort of this box, I feel like I am opening up the box in a way that's true for me. And that has been amazing. Yeah. What about you?
Well, I think for me, like my profession has always been part of my identity. So in my later years, I feel like my energy has changed. Beginning as a young 20-year-old teacher, I was jumping on desks and being loud and profound and wanting to certainly change the world. Not that I don't want to change the world, but I think for me now, towards the end of my career, I definitely approach it with a lot more patience, I would say. We're talking about this metamorphosis of being 50. My identity has certainly changed to where before I would say I was certainly trying to be a people pleaser.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. The disease to please.
Yes, the disease to please, whether it's my students, my colleagues, definitely my administration and families. I certainly worked really hard to do that, but now I really I listen a lot more. I'm not as impulsive in my reaction. And then in my role, if I have to make decisions or communications that may not bode well with all the parties, I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'm very okay because I'm making decisions or making communications that is what is best for either the student or the school.
And so how do you see yourself? Like, what is your identity still steeped in that? Do you feel like it's different? It's shifted?
Oh, it's definitely shifted. It's just like in my personal life, I feel like I've done the same thing too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to be like definitely pleasing, trying to please others. My love language naturally is to give, right? So whether it's in friendships or relationships, I was doing everything for others rather than taking care of myself and setting boundaries.
Yeah.
How about for you?
Yeah, it beyond just professional, personal has definitely changed. Like I was just talking about those roles of, especially for a female. I do wonder what it's like for men. Those roles of just like being a wife, a mother, a daughter, which are whatever it may be, a sister, friend, all those labels, which are so important, and I think they mean so much to us. I think they define us in so many ways. And I think we understand ourselves through those labels, through those roles, through the actions we take, the love that we feel for the relationships in our lives. But I'll be honest, like I've started to think of myself beyond those labels and roles. I think part of it is because, and to some degree, like I was like good at them and I wasn't good at them. I was like a good wife, a good stepmom, good daughter, good teacher, whatever it is. But I never felt like certainly that I was great at any one of them. I never felt like, gosh, I killed it in that particular role. And I think that, coming into midlife, getting older, that was something I had to grapple with of like, okay, if this is who I am, if this is how I'm defining who I am in my life, and yet I don't feel like I'm killing it, like this is, and coupled with that, I still felt like something was missing. So I really had to think about what's up, and I didn't really have the language for it. I really didn't know what that was, but I just knew like at times I felt like a disappointment. I felt like a failure. I felt like just not enough. And I guess I was curious about it. And I guess I was not totally accepting that this was it, that I had to accept it. I think way back in my mind, it was just like, no, there's got to be something else. Something was always. And so I feel like, now I want to be mindful of the labels that I take on. And I don't want to box myself in any way. So I really go by those things of just like being present, trying to be open. I love being creative in these ways. I'm not like a painter or something like that, but I want to be creative. I want to try new things. And I think that is more like the direction that I'm going in.
You've been liberated. You're free to do beyond the label.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I don't mean to be, I hope that doesn't take away from my roles and relationships or people who do define themselves in those ways, because I think just for me, like if I'm not great at them and I still feel like I have more to express in a way that I just couldn't in those labels, that's where I'm going. That's the road I'm on.
Do you have any fears in changing these directions?
I don't think so. I think my fear now is that I don't want to leave anything on the table anymore. I want to go for it. I am searching for the ultimate fulfillment, like whatever that means. I'm not 25, so I don't mean that in an irresponsible, reckless, like FOMO way. I mean it in the deepest, most profound way of just like, I have this, as Mary Oliver says, this one wild and precious life, and I just want to just go for it and be as present, be as loving, learn and grow. And that's what so I probably have less fear now than I did before, because I really had to confront that I was not great at things and I sometimes sucked at them for a variety of reasons. And that probably instilled a lot of fear in me of just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go through the rest of my life and feeling like I suck at everything I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah.
I think for me, yeah, I agree. I'm not scared anymore. But I think the only thing that lurks in the back of my mind is repeating the same mistakes. Like I sucked at being a husband.
Yeah.
I sucked at being a husband, especially in the later years. And I don't want to fall into those old patterns. Like I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about myself personally and in my professionally, my career. Like I don't want to fall into old patterns. I don't want to please people anymore. I really love the new version of myself, and I really hope to carry that on in my love life, as a father, as a partner, as an administrator, as a friend, as a son, as a brother.
Yeah. I think it just brings a whole new set of, like, it's like you said before, like a mindset shift. It's just a different way to look at life and a different way to be. And then I think it just sort of resonates out from there. So, yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, as I was just saying that train of thought, like true transparency and confessional. I guess, like, not only did I sucked as a husband, I sucked as a son, I sucked as a brother, I sucked as a friend. The only thing I didn't suck as was a father. That's one thing that was constant. That I knew I was a really good father. I'm a really good father.
I mean, I don't know who you were in those roles. I only know you as a friend, but I doubt you totally sucked. I think it's really hard. I think we live in a society that, again, tells us who we should be.
Yeah.
That ascribes us roles, and it's like hard as a human being to feel like, oh, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not doing well.
No, I hear that. Another thing that resonated from that reading, though, was like, as a horse, you're stepping out of the darkness, right? Yeah. There were some dark times, and I wasn't a good son or a good brother because I was embarrassed.
What do you mean? Why were you
there were so many things that I just didn't like about myself at that point in time.
Yeah.
That I didn't want to talk to anybody. Mm-hmm. What's the word I'm talking about? Recluse.
A recluse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A recluse, but I also didn't want, I kind of shrank, mm-hmm. and didn't want to talk about it. I wasn't ready to talk about it with people yet. People mm-hmm. just kept, my brother, especially during those dark times, was trying to support me, and I just wasn't ready to mm-hmm. to talk about it.
And this is coming from the divorce.
Yeah. Well, even in the latter half of my marriage, I was just not myself.
Yeah. So I that's what's so, because they say in your 40s you're supposed to know yourself, and to some degree, surely, more than your 20s and 30s, but it's still a time of I think where those old patterns, because you've been doing, again, what you're supposed to be doing the whole time, mm-hmm. and it's actually not gelling and it's not working.
Didn't work. I had an identity crisis. I mean, that's why maybe that's why people have midlife crises. They
right.
try to have this rebirth of who they think they are, who they want to be.
Right. And then you find out, oh my gosh, this is not working. And then you don't know how to shift.
Right.
You don't know what to do. You don't know how to pivot. You don't know how to change. And then you're in these relationships, you're in these roles, and there are expectations on them, and it can be a really tough place to be in. Mm-hmm. So, but I think if it's embodied by the Year of the Snake, I think there is something about and I think culturally where we're just becoming more aware of aspects of our lives, to know, hey, this is not working for me. Something is off here. It's just reflection, what you were talking about. This doesn't feel good. This is not serving me. It's probably not serving my relationship. It's definitely not. It's not whatever it is, bringing good energy or whatever. And I think it really, if you can get that awareness, then it probably can lead to maybe just breaking out of it. Mm-hmm. So I definitely hear that, but I'm all for it. So what do you think? So if this is the year of the horse, about vision, about action, about going for it, what is your sense of this year for you and the way that you want to move forward?
I want to move forward in my life with no regrets. Mm-hmm. My father used to say that to me.
Oh, really?
That he always did things or made decisions for the family or lived his life with no regrets, and that really resonated with me. Especially, those are some of the last words he said to me, was that he was proud of me and that try to live life with no regrets, and I'm really going to take that to heart. Mm-hmm. I think for me professionally, this is the first time in my career. I mean, I still love. I've always loved what I've done. I still love what I do, but I'm actually at a point where I'm a little more open-minded about what's next. I've had advice from my supervisor and from friends and colleagues that say you should try this, and this. And before I'm no. I really was.
So you're more open.
Yeah, comfortable and, in my little nest, warm little nest that I've created for myself. But now I'm a little more open to what's beyond this role, maybe even beyond education. I've been an educator for my whole life. Yeah. So maybe I do something different.
Yeah. Nice.
And then I think personally, my daughter's entering the phase of looking for colleges now, so that's exciting.
Big deal.
And so I'm not going to try to, I'm hopefully not to transfer my stress and anxiety onto her, and to really ride this ride with her and be excited about that. And then I'm really committed to looking for a life partner this year.
All right.
Yeah, I'm saying it out loud. I'm not embarrassed. The last episode, you brought that advice onto me, or maybe that wish to me, and I'm gonna embrace it now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna really embrace it now.
Yeah.
How about you? It seems urgent for you.
I mean, I sort of talked about it before. I just want to. I think for me, of course, no regrets also, and what that translates to is into fully expressing myself in whatever fashion or form that is. Mm-hmm. I just think that I want to live with an open heart, an open mind. I want to share. I want to like laugh and adventure. And I think all of that is about expression. I think teaching is a way to express myself. Here in the podcast is a way to express myself. You know, my relationships, and I just want to live out loud because now I feel so anchored and grounded in myself. Mm-hmm. I feel like I know myself in a way that it has just begun to. It's not like I've figured everything out, but I keep saying it, just more connected and more aligned to myself. And I feel like I can take risks now. I can just be joyful in the moment and not feel like, oh my gosh, do I deserve this? Is it going to be taken away? Mm-hmm. I feel the goodness just for the goodness sake, and I'm super excited about it all. I will say though, you know, as I say all this, it just came to my mind. I'm like, the world is just becoming that much more complicated and that much more difficult, and there's just so much. Yeah. But I want to, in that, like, I want to support goodness. I want to be a good person in this world. I'm not trying to pretend that things aren't happening or that don't exist. I want to find my way at who I am today in this world that is so complicated and difficult for so many different reasons. And, you know, so that's what I hope.
Have you ever made a list of your non-negotiables?
For what?
For this, like, what are some things that are just like you, like what you believe and who you are and what you need, and things that maybe like to help, if we're talking about year of action, mm-hmm. you know, what are some of those? Have you thought about it?
I haven't thought about it, but I guess when I think about like, what am I, like non-negotiables, or what am I not going to compromise?
Right.
Nothing comes to mind. Again, I just feel like I know myself, and I think intuitively, instinctually, I will know. I feel very open to life right now. Mm-hmm. So I feel like when, so even if a person walks into my life where we're not gelling, I mean, dare I say even toxic, like I will be able to navigate that, and I won't take it as personally as maybe I would have last year, a couple of years ago. I'm very trusting, or I'm choosing to be trusting of the universe and what is coming my way. And I just want to be steady and just keep moving in this direction and just continue to, like, I guess, evolve in this way. So non-negotiables, I don't think so. Do you have some?
I think what we're talking about, mm-hmm. I think just based off of our conversation, you could probably list a number of things, mm-hmm. define who you are at this moment and mm-hmm. who you want to be. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I'm a list guy. So okay. I like making lists. Okay. So maybe that's another episode. We can come back and talk about like what are we decided. I think just based off of this conversation, like, you know, like there are some things that are for me that I know that like you said, like I'm not going to allow toxicity. Mm-hmm. I have a clear boundary for toxicity now.
Right. Why would you engage with that in a way?
Or like I don't give a fuck. Or I don't like that. There's like all these different things that I'm going to take with me from the last few years. I'm going to, you know, shed mm-hmm. off all that dead skin, mm-hmm. you know, that I used to wear, mm-hmm. right? And like transform, like take the spirit of the snake and transform. But then now, because of what I've learned, I'm going to run with it, mm-hmm. with the horse.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
that's the year of the horse.
That's
baby.
The year of the horse. I think we can wrap it up there.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Absolutely. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. See you next time.
Take care.
Bye.